Warm greetings, everyone. Welcome to today's session of Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. This session is conducted with the support of Wiki Water Resource Council and industry in collaboration with W4W Foundation and media partner Counterview. My name is Anubhuti Shekhar and I am the National Youth Representative Community of Wiki Water Resource Council. I am joined by Dr. Nafisa Barot, who is currently holding the position of National President of Wiki Water Resource Council, and she is also the founder of W4W Foundation. Welcome, Nafisa. We are glad to start the conversation, namely Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water, which we colloquially refer as Blue Lip. The conversation is aimed to share the worries and the wisdom by the woman, for the woman, of the woman in the water sector. In here, we hope to learn about the water endeavors of the woman in a regular disciplined manner like a masterclass. Today, in this session, we are here to listen and know more about Nafisa Barot. With 4 decades of experience in building gender-sensitive institutions for the empowerment of rural marginalized communities, Nafisa is actively associated with various movements influencing people and policies around water, gender justice, and sustainable development. Persevering to understand what option communities might have for development and hope in coastal Gujarat, efforts in working with women with a potential for leadership and with stamina to face barriers to change, led her to co-found Utthan in 1981. Nafisa received the 2020 IWA Women in Water Award. In 2016, she instituted leadership succession with Utthan, a marker of her belief in ensuring institutional sustainability. Nafisa has served on many government task forces, to name a few: CAPAD, NABARD, DWACRA, Planning Commission, and more. Her focal issues of engagement have been on addressing gender justice, equality, and inclusion in several areas such as water governance, women and girls' rights, and much more. Today, welcome to the Monday Munching session, Nafisa ma'am. We are so excited to have you on today's session and very eager to learn and know more about you. To start the conversation, I would love to know, how did you start your journey in the water sector? And how did you realize that you belong in this sector? Like, how did you decide that you want to be a part of this change, or you want to be a part of this change where you are working on bringing change in the lives of rural communities and also on the environment? So how did you decide this journey and how was your experience?
Thank you, Anubhuti, and Mansi for such an elaborate, my introduction. And I would also like to thank you for this opportunity, which is for a very long time we're trying to set up the time, and it was very difficult to, match the timing. Anyway, I'm to come to your question, when I finished my graduation, that is in nutrition. I did my nutrition graduation from Baroda University. And believe me, I had not much heard about NGO or, work in how you work with the communities in development and rural development, etc., etc. But somewhere down in my heart, I always felt that, after doing this nutrition, or even while I was studying, I felt I want to go and be among the community to see, what is the status of their health, their nutrition status, etc., etc. So I just had that instinct within me from inside. I wanted to really do that. But I didn't know how to. I came back to Ahmedabad because I studied in Baroda. I came back to Ahmedabad, and then I got a kind of an opportunity to work in an organization called ASAG. And that's the first time that I really learned about, that is in 79 I'm talking, that I learned about that how NGOs, they work in the rural areas. My job initially, I was asked because I'd done nutrition to really go and talk to women and talk about nutrition and how their nutrition status can be improved. And so I went to these villages in Dhanduka Taluka, Bawla, near Bawla, I'd gone those villages. And then I started as usual. What happens, like you come with all these baggages of that you've learned this much and you've knowledge and you've information. So you go there and then you sit with women and then you tell them that, oh, you're supposed to eat this and you're supposed to eat that and you're supposed to have a very balanced diet and leafy vegetables and all this. And all these women in the villages, they're just staring at me. And I was a bit annoyed, I mean, why are they're just staring at me? Not a kind of, no reaction, no yes, no, just staring. And then at the end, they started laughing. So I was more angry. I said, what? I mean, you don't take me serious. You think this is not important? They said, oh, Ben, you first, I mean, you're talking about all these vegetables. Where do we bring all these vegetables? First of all, we don't have water to drink. And then you are talking about, all these leafy vegetables and this vegetable and that vegetable. So that was my first lesson that, what, the issue in those villages were. And then I started slowly looking at that, the schools, and then children and girls would come back. And then because there was no water in the school, and then, girls would go to bring water, etc., etc. So after that, I mean, I was also part of doing a block level plan for Dhanduka Taluka. And, so we did this block level plan of Dhanduka Taluka. And we realized that in most areas, I mean, there were huge water problem, drinking water problem. And so, after submitting that plan to the government and government rejecting it because we called it people's plan for their development. So, government said, how people ko kahan pata chalega ki unko kya karna hai? What are you saying? That people's plan for their development, because what we had put in the plan, I mean, the team which was doing this, we had said that these are people's aspirations, these are people's ideas, this is how their problems need to be addressed. And so there were all sorts of problems, whether of livelihood, water, etc., etc. So anyway, that plan was thrown out, and that actually triggered, something. I mean, it motivated 4 of us, who then were part of this whole plan. I mean, making the block level plan. So we started. We said we will initiate a process of change, of empowerment in that area by bringing a local team together, because we believe that, and we realize that you can't kind of do a block level plan, you can't do it yourself. And so the way to go about it is to kind of, how do you initiate change? And that change can come through bringing local people, a team of local people to kind of together form a kind of a platform, and that we call Mahiti. So Mahiti was our concept, and now Mahiti has become an organization, and it has been like working in 3-4 districts and with thousands of women. So Utthan and Utthan was registered also in 81. So, we registered ourselves. We had this concept that over a period of time, this initiative, this body of people from there, women and men, they would actually take charge of their issues in the society, and also kind of, guide take the initiatives further in that society. So when, so our journey started, this is in Bhal region. And our journey started, and, we would go from villages to villages. And men would say that, if we want to bring about any change here, you do something about employment. 80% people used to migrate from that area. Anything under the sky was a problem here. anything. I mean, you talk about health, you talk about water, you talk about employment, a lot of things. So, but when we would meet women would say that, yes, employment is an issue, but first, on priority basis, unless and until we address drinking water problem, employment cannot be achieved, because most of our time really goes in collecting water, walking for miles together to really get water. And that's where we really understood the whole politics and dynamics of water. So we try to understand the issue from socio-political, ecological, economic aspects. What was happening? Why was this problem, in this area? And I think somewhere women, they were really coaxing us, or motivating us, saying that, yeah, we need to we need to find why there is problem, and because there is no Sida solution to this. So there were this pipeline which used to come from 100 kilometers away, and so then we realized that, this pipeline, which was supposed to be providing water to the tail end villages, hardly any water came to these tail end villages, and because the pipeline would break, and then the quality of water would be very bad, and then there would be so many fights when the water would come for 15-20 minutes in a week or that. And those early days, we were young, had gone from the city, and going and being with communities, living there in those villages, and seeing how they were fighting to get, they would have to scoop water from the bottom of a tank, where the water from the pipe would come, and it would literally trickle down, and hundreds of people jumping at it to get some water. And then blood would drip in water. Women are menstruating, and that blood would also drip in water. Somebody hits each other, and so it's they're hurt, and so that blood drips in water. And animals would not drink that water because it smelled of blood. And but for the survival, that was the only water which was available there, because it was, as they call this, is sweet water. That was the thing. So when we try to understand that, okay, what happened to their, women were always saying that, we were very happy when we had a traditional system, which was like talab and those kinds of things. Now, this is a very saline area. So in this saline area, what had happened was that over a period of time, because the pipeline had taken over their own traditional system, where they were managing their ponds and looking after it and all that, and so abandoning those systems, and then the new technology, which like pipeline came, and then pipeline did not serve the purpose. Meanwhile, these ponds became shallow because they silted over a period of time, and there was no excavation done in those ponds. And also because of the very severe salinity ground, because the Bhal is a inherently saline area. So the groundwater was also very highly saline. So it was like you go 10 feet below, and there's 3 times saltier than seawater. That is the kind of situation over there. So while we were discussing with people, especially with women, that, okay, so what is the solution? What do we do about it? And then they said that, the alternative is that we must dig the ponds, we must excavate deep in the ponds, we must harvest rainwater. But the problem was that now, because these ponds would become saline in the, as the summer would come, because, the saline water from the ground would rise up and mix in the water. So then once we were sitting and we were chatting, this is what we would always do. We would talk with people, communities, and say, kya solution hai? So ek baar there was a guy who was very drunk, and we were sitting on the ground and we were having chai and BDs and all that was going on. And this guy said, look, when we go out, when we migrate, Then, they do this lining of the canals to kind of, prevent water from seeping down. So why not we just put the whole chaddar in the talab? And then he went flat because he was so drunk. So he went flat. And then we kept on discussing on the, on the issue. And he said, yeah. So there were also a few women with us, so they were also sitting there. We said, yes, this is something that we should really try. So then we went to IPCL, and then we were really supported by Hasmukh Shah, and to provide a kind of a liner, for the pond. So that was the first kind of a demonstration, a small demonstration that was done in Bhal to harvest rainwater in ponds, and by lining it, by putting the lining. But the lining was had to be covered with bricks and mud, because they would not drink water directly from which was stored in this whole thing. So this one is the technical alternative. But what we realize is that when, you go deeper into an issue, it's like, it opens like one window after another, like, it opens up, and you find that, okay, ये एक problem का solution, there are also other issues like social issues, because even if suppose you have addressed technically an issue, what happens to Dalit, what happens to poor, how they would be allowed to take water from the ponds, etc. So we started these women's groups, and we started discussing about this, that if Utthan is a partner into this whole thing, we cannot go ahead without equity, without addressing this whole issue of equality and doing away with untouchability and things like that. So that really took a long time. So we said that no, we will not go ahead till we have resolved these issues. So in those 7-8 villages, women went from village to village. Some of these women leaders, they went from village to village, convincing everybody that we have to come together and, agree to that everybody will be allowed to take water, from the pond, etc., etc. So these were sort of becoming principles. This is something that what we learned in Bhal that time. That, when you're talking about a solution, it is from the gender perspective. The solution is not just technology. This one is technology. Second is then, like social aspect. Then we realized that there was a huge tiff between the selection of the pond. So where the pond should be. And there were these engineers who had come from IPCL, and they were saying, okay, the pond should be here because this is where the maximum water will come. And the men from the village would say, no, this is the best place. And women said third place. Their idea was a third place. And we realized, and talking to women, they said, we want water security. We don't want, even if our ponds get little saline water, we don't mind, but we want full water security. So we want pond in such a way that we can really kind of control it. In a way that we can really guard it and see that nobody steals water away. While what men were saying, because they wanted somewhere near their khed so that they can really take some water for their farms. So, and the engineers felt very bad that, we are engineers and we are saying this, and how can you deny? And then, we were able to convince them that, look, what you are saying, you had the experience of people there is that they've been living for ages there. So they know from where the fresh water will come. You will get a lot of water, but it can be all saline. So this was a kind of the understanding that we got, that, how you when you are addressing an issue, how you really go about. And then, of course, when then the last thing was that when, you take it to the government, because we told women and the community said, this is something that you have to put it before the government, because this is not something that organization is going to pay for. This is not the money, we don't have that. And women that time, they came out of the house. And because they came out, so they were, in a way, they were challenging, or they had to challenge patriarchy, you know, because they were not allowed to go out. Men saw it as women breaking shackles, you know, like they are going ahead and going and meeting the government and arguing with them and telling them why this should be done, etc., etc. So there was a kind of process of empowerment, which was at different level. It was breaking, you know, these barriers. And so in a way, one can say that the water, which really is an issue so close to women. I mean, people like us, feminists, we believe that it is not only women's responsibility. But the reality is this today, that yes, it is not women's responsibility, but still, today, in today's context, it is like women, you know, they have to take the major responsibility, and this responsibility is on them. So we realize that how important this issue has been for bringing about change, not only technological, not only in terms of getting water, you know, because it was a very successful demonstration, and it really kind of Sam Petroda and many other people, you know, they started visiting that place, so it became very known. So we realize that how an issue like water can transform, you know, women's life in terms of empowerment. So many leaders which came out from this, you know, from these kinds of movements. And there are, I mean, I can tell you hundreds of stories, you know, where women really had to fight, because they had to fight corruption. Those who were running tankers, they did not like that an alternative like this is coming up. Women were taking lead in ensuring that no corruption takes place, because, you know, when they were excavating the ponds, you know, they had to really see that no corruption takes place, and you know, people are paid for the wages. And women were the ones to actually, this was something very unique what had happened that time, that in 85, 86 in Bhal area, where 80% people would migrate. And that particular time, women went around in all these villages and forced people not to migrate. And then it was, and said that, please, let's kind of excavate the ponds. And they were able to get the funds from Food for Work. You know, that time it was Food for Work, jo abhi hum log Manrega, ya all these other programs, jo, that time it was Food for Work. And so that was, you know, so the ponds were excavated from there, and then there was no rain. And, you know, so, you know, all these, like there were 7, 8 ponds, line ponds, all that was there. And Kapat came and, you know, supported these lining because they saw the demonstration that was initially done from IPCL support. So they kind of, you know, and then there was rain somewhere else. It was very dramatic. People dug a 3 kilometers long channel to bring that water to this pond. And so all 7 villages survived on the water from this pond, along with their animals. So, you know, I mean, as I said, that this was the beginning. And from there, Utthan went from like 94, Utthan, with Mahiti got registered. It became an independent organization, which was our vision. And then we went to other areas, like Utthan went to Bhavnagar, Amreli, Dahod, Panchmahal. Right now it's working in all these areas. And in every place we have gone, we have found that women, you talk to most vulnerable, what are your issues? And invariably they will say water is a major issue. And so it is something that it is not our project. It is for us, it is an issue which comes from women, from the most vulnerable, and that needs to be addressed, but addressed in terms of socio-politically, economically, you know, kind of just way. So, I mean, you know, so there is there was no blueprint for us that, okay, you were supposed to work on water or you were supposed to do a project on water. We just jumped, I mean, we just went up, plunged ourselves into it. And एक सवाल में से दूसरा, दूसरे में से तीसरा, तीसरे में से चौथा, एक का solution निकले, and another 5 questions will get. And then there were fights and, so many kind of issues that would come up. So I believe that this is a process of empowerment. And I think that that's something people like me and many others, this is something very passionate. Okay, it's a very organic kind of a process, which kind of leads to a change. I mean, you see change in life. I mean, water is just the beginning, no? But then you see so many changes which have come about. So in all these other areas, we've gone on livelihood, security, and but water security becomes the key issue everywhere, especially for women. Yeah, so I mean, just to that's what has actually, I wouldn't say that I chose water as a subject or as an issue, but I was literally pulled in to say that if you really want to bring about change, then this is an issue that one needs to work on, by women. And so that's why I became very passionate about it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think to put it in these many sentences and in so much less time, 40 years of your experience must be very difficult. But it was wonderful to know more about you, because we have been reading about you a lot, but I haven't got a lot of time to interact. I have just heard a lot about you from Mansi ma'am. So I would invite Mansi ma'am to take some questions on women leadership. And please, Mansi ma'am, please continue from here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anubhuti, to initiate the conversation. And Nafisa, it is always just so inspiring to listen to you. I just feel like, wow, 40 years and plus. And as you rightly mentioned, that you did not choose water. I guess water chose you and the woman chose you, to be destined to be like this. And no better role model can be here in this country when we talk about women, when we talk about, leadership among women, which is circling around water issues. And as you rightly mentioned, then the moment you get into the Pandora box of water or black box of water, everything comes out one after the other, the social, the political, and somewhere technology seems to be one of the just meager ways to solve the problem. And because we have been following your work, and I know you for so many years as your work, but I know you recently as our speakers, and now personally also as a good mentor friend. And because you have worked so deep into the society at all scales, and all strata of women, including professional women, where you are training all of us to become water professionals, I need to understand from you, when we are celebrating women leadership, and I can recall a time when you had started after MSU Baroda, I was barely a toddler, by the way. So I can imagine the absence of women role models to even think about doing something at a scale of village or even city, or even going and mobilizing the whole community around it. So now we are in a better stage than those years. At least we have some names on hands, that there are these women who are practicing. And through these Monday Munching and with Women for Water, we are trying to bring those role models out to the society, so that we are not short of role models, Yeah. And people like you, Vandana, Shiva, and many more, Arunaji, and you were like early role models for the country, My question to you is then, why are we so less? Patriarchy comes as a natural answer, but I think there are more things which have devoid women from this leadership, role. I mean, from rural areas, you still see, and you have said it many times, that women have been on the leading roles. But when we talk about professional women leaders who are working a lot, including you, me, and many other people, there is not enough acknowledgement and appreciation of the women leaders. What is the reason behind that?
See, Mansi, I feel that, I mean, I'm not saying anything new, that this is the men's world,
Yes,
ultimately. So what gets recognized and what doesn't, I mean, this is not to kind of criticize in any way, but long, long, long back, when they were, by a very reputed organization, Anil was there. And, he had promoted very good, I mean, like Anna Hazare and
yes,
Rajendra and on those. So one was always very happy about that. Okay, yeah, there are these leaders for promoting, water and all that. And I used to say that time that, but there are other voices also, and
yes,
one needs to recognize that also. And I don't know, I mean, like it's very difficult to put your finger on it, but I would say Sunita Narayan, I mean, Sunita is one of such leaders. But of course, people work at different level. So I mean, she works
yes,
at a different level, people like us work at a different level. So I don't think that there is a very simple answer to it, but I think that this, what we always say, that this lack of space for uh, for women, even in this sector, has led to this. Otherwise, I mean, I would say that there are many, many more women, than
absolutely.
who are being right now or being acknowledged. There are many more women. But yeah, I mean, not that kind of projection, or not that kind of space has been given to them, you know. So that's an issue. I mean, we do live in
Yeah.
a still. I mean, so we have to keep fighting this whole patriarchal attitude, in the society.
Yeah, this was the very reason also that we thought of creating this role model series. So that, I mean, you rightly pointed out, when Anilji and all had started promoting uh, uh, water leadership, and it's like men and men,
Yeah.
the horizon was not widened up. And I think I see a lot of change when even Sunita now talks about Vandana, you, and I mean even Aruna ma'am talks about,
Yeah.
Medhaji talks about these things. Now the next generation, we see Nandini and all, Harini and all these people are talking a lot about women leadership in the sector,
Yeah.
so the early people did not have that platform, I must say, but at least over the years, you are seeing that there is a change. We have so many of them, Sarah is there, and many
Yeah.
more people for that matter. So
Yeah.
just to understand from you, because you have seen these decades of change, where at least there are more women in the sector, we know each other, we are forming a network and platform, we are trying to build that sisterhood also, which you have already learned and appreciated from the grassroots, from the rural areas, which was in a way missing in the urban and professional sector, and that is the very reason where we brought the Wiki Water Resource Council to bring this whole idea of building a partnership and to appreciate the leadership. So I just understand, I want to understand from you, when you have seen these women from so grounded approach, and from rural to urban areas where you work with all kinds of women, what are the some basic skill sets you think really highlights the leadership skills? Because leadership is a genderless concept, but still among the masses there are few women who stand out, whether it is rural or urban. What kind of skills do you think that really makes them stand out among the masses as leadership skills?
See, Mansi, I would put it like skills is one thing, but it is like you say na कि ये इंसान में कुछ है ना,
uh,
something is there, which
yes,
is which one may not say is about leadership. It may be,
yeah,
I mean, skill, yeah, but it is something. The way that person says something, the way that person does something, and these are the qualities of a leader. Not doing something differently, I'll give you a very classic example. I mean, if you have
Please.
just a
Yeah, of
couple of
course.
minutes. So there's
Yes.
a very beautiful, I mean, the story which I always tell others that, in Bhavnagar, there is a village, and where there's there's a lady called Labu Ben. I mean, so she, uh, she had come in touch with Utthan, and then addressing this issue of water and all that. And what happened was that she started taking a lot of, initiative, leadership in terms of addressing the issue. So in their village, they decided that they will do a kind of bore recharging. I mean, a kind of a check them, they will recharge water and then bore and all that, and then they will bring that through a pipeline water in the village, because that area was away. So uh, they people in the villages, I mean, especially the women, they said that, look, we can dig this so that we get some employment also, and then we don't have to migrate again, we get some employment, and that way we will do a good job and we will bring water also. Now the sarpanch, who was also the brother-in-law of this woman, this lady. So when he learned about it, he said, nothing doing, I'm just going to bring this tractor and JCB and all that, and I'm just going to get this whole thing excavated. So she said, nothing doing. I mean, people are saying this, women are saying this. Now, we were not giving any inputs to her that this is what you should do, or this is how you should go about, or argue with the sarpanch and all that. But she took that initiative. So because he happened to be a brother-in-law, the brother-in-law told her husband that please ask her to, I mean, control her, and she's going just beyond limit, and you are not keeping her like under control, etc. So now husband wife had very good relationship. So the husband told that, look, I mean, I don't want, I mean, I know that you are doing good work, but like this is creating problem in the family. So you will not step out of the house, till this problem is addressed. So right now, you will not go for any meetings and all. She said, okay. She said, okay, I will not go, but you will also not go. So you will also stay in the house. So he said, okay, because, he thought, okay, kahan tak mujhe band ke rakhegi, type of thing. So what this lady did was, she would get all the women at her place, uske ghar pe, aur wahan par meeting karne lagi, ghar mein meeting karne lagi. And then like they would decide कि अभी क्या करना है, and she would tell women कि जाके धरना करो पंचायत के सामने. वो उसके सामने धरना करो. And this man, the husband, used to listen, used to sit on the side, and he had to give water and everything, to the women who were coming and all that. Or kabhi chai bhi bana deta. So the thing is so those women went, and they kept on pressurizing that sarpanch that you have to, we will not allow you to use JCB. In short, फिर क्या हुआ कि नवरात्रि आ रही थी, and this guy used to play means वो नाटक वो करते हैं ना, रंगला रंगली और वो सब हवाई आता. So he said, I have to go. So she said, you're most welcome to go. You can go, and I also have to go because I also have a lot of meetings to attend. So she very cleverly, she said, okay, so हमारी शर्त यही थी कि मैं नहीं जाऊंगी, तुम नहीं जाओगे, अब तुम जा रहे हो तो मैं भी जाऊंगी. And so she was able to mobilize, and then finally they were able to get that whole thing, dug and all that. There are so many such examples, where women have taken leadership. So I'm saying that this is something within her. It was more than skill. It is the instinct that that person has. वो बोलते हैं ना कि killer instinct होती है. I'm not saying killer is not a word that we would use as a feminist. We don't want to kill anybody, but saying that, so because even I remember in Bhal area, when they found the alternative, And then men said कि भाई अभी तो ये fighting with the government और इनके साथ और उनके साथ तो हम तो बहुत बेजार आ गए. Women were saying कि no, we will do it. We will keep fighting. So I think that is those are the kind of qualities that you really look for. You know,
The
from
passion and compassion.
yeah. Passion, and then so there is some kind of instinct within you. I mean, you know, which leads you to that, and then of course, then you learn, and you know, so many other layers come, and then you know, you really build that. I mean, like even you know, this whole movement for saving Mahua land, you know, from
Yes.
Nirma. That
That's a
women
different,
learned a lot of
together
things.
full session by itself.
That is that's a whole
Chipko of fear of our land.
because we learned so much from women, you know, their strategies and you know, their how they took leadership in different ways and all that. So yeah, so I would say that. So I'm not saying skill building is not required. I mean, those are like conscious things that you say, okay, how will you then present it more appropriately, etc.,
Yes.
etc.
Some tangible skills are definitely required, but I think at the back of it, either there is this urge or desire or drive, or you know, I probably the urgency or the need of the situation that some women have to really take it on their own shoulders.
Exactly.
So while you were talking about it, we really got into all this canvas of women around, and the focus is really wanting to know a little bit more about Nafisa also, because we are trying to look at the younger generation, how they look up to the role model, because role model should not be very far from them. They should feel as that they can be accessible, and that's a life which can be lived. So Anubhuti has some interesting question for you about you as Nafisa. So maybe Anubhuti, I get you back here in the conversation, and then I come back again, Nafisa.
Thank you, Mansi.
Thank you so much, Mansi ma'am, for those wonderful questions. I think we can go on and on when we talk about women leadership and water.
Yes.
So yeah, my question to you, Nafisa ma'am, is when you started your journey in the sector of water, it must be very difficult from what it is today. So was it easy for you to like convince people around you, your family, like relatives, or everyone around you that you want to work and contribute for the community? Because what community asks for is a lot of time on the ground, and as women we cannot really go out and contribute a lot. So how was it at that point of time? How did you manage to convince your parents? Because when I told my parents I want to study water environment, it was difficult for them as well, because at the back of their mind still there is a notion that doctor, engineers are the people who earn more money, who get more respect. So how was it back then? How did you manage back then?
She wasn't even born, Nafisa, when you started. So that's different.
So Anubhuti, you know, I mean, I think that this is a very appropriate question, and that, you know, to kind of realistically what it meant. I mean, when I came back from after my studies and when I was here, my family really needed money. I mean, because we were coming from lower middle class family, and there were financial, you know, crisis, and so obviously there was some need in the family to earn, because I was not married or I was not living somewhere else and all that. But then I decided that, okay, I'm going to do this. So first of all, yes, I mean, what happens usually, as what even you said, that today also, and even then, you know, people used to think, what ये सब नशा उतर जाएगा तुम्हारा development का और ये सब सेवा करने का and all that. And I used to keep telling them, मैं सेवा करने नहीं जा रही हूँ. I'm just kind of doing something which I like, you know, to do. And, you know, so ultimately everybody wanted an answer. के end में आप कितना पैसा कमाएंगे? How are you going to sustain your life? And our answers to my always answer is that there is no blueprint for everyone. कि आपको ये करना है. When you are passionate about something, you say that, okay, this is something I want to do. You will find a way. I mean, difficulty होगी. There have been times कि जब हम लोग ने सिंग चना खा के, literally सिंग चना, I'm not exaggerating, that we used to survive on Sing Chana because we didn't have any money. You know, money would not come from the funding agencies because they'll say, "Ab project to, हम ये कहते थे कि भाई हम project नहीं देंगे क्योंकि हम तो process में मानते हैं, हम लोग ये लोग के साथ हम लोग बातचीत करके उसमें से जो निकलेगा, that we will be kind of, you know, providing you information with, on the basis of which we require support. But we are saying that basically we require funds for mobilization. And so it was very difficult to convince even the funding agencies what we wanted to do. हम लोग को जो करना था कि भाई listening to people, listening to women, understanding the issues, and bring about change. So it is. I think that the simple thing is that your passion has to be much more stronger than these resistance. You know, that is what I would say. That the resistance or the, you know, the obstacles which come from obstacles or questions which come from your parents or from others, you know, so your passion has to be bigger than that. And then over a period of time, they would get convinced, you know, because they are able to see the kind of, even if suppose not money, but otherwise, I mean, they are able to see the kind of value that you are bringing in, or the kind of, you know, the recognition that, you know, you're getting, whatever, or like, you know, some change that is happening will make them happy. I mean, but you have to keep talking to them. See, sometimes what happens is that, you know, means when people say, so start questioning and say, no, you should, why you're doing this and this and that, then you just start like moving away from them. But, you know, to me, I mean, what I've learned from my own experience is that you keep having a dialogue, you keep convincing them that, you know, your passion, what you're doing is something worth, and it needs to be done. I mean, somebody in the society needs to do this, bring about change.
Thank you so much, Nafisa ma'am. I think it's very well said that to follow the passion, you have to make sure that your passion is strong enough that all these resistance does not stop you. So my next question to you is, all these years, how was it balancing work and life? How was it balancing work and life at home when you had to manage household chores also with the work? So how did you manage it? How did you balance all these years? What was your, I would say, what was your, I can't find the word, but like, how did you manage?
Manage, yeah. Well, see, the thing is this, that people like us, we make our own decisions, and we say, okay, what is a partner? What is the kind of partner that we want? And that partner who would really partner everything in their house and otherwise, you know. So I think that is one thing, that, you know, one lives with a partner who has been understanding, and means there is a kind of an amicable relationship, so that it is, we have never felt, because my husband, he's an actor, director, and a singer. So he's into theater and he's into films and this, that. So he also goes out many times and many this thing, but he respects my work a lot. And so he does a lot of documentation and those kind of things. Similarly, I am also part of theater. So like, you know, our interests somewhere meet. And so we are mutually respecting each other's work. You know, it's like I'm respecting his, or I'm getting, you know, it is in the context of what we are doing in the society. So the kind of plays that he's doing, or the kind of work that I'm doing. So I think that when you have, it's very important. I think that the question that you are asking is very important, that how do you balance? And I think that this establishing harmony between your work and your personal life, and saying that what I'm doing there is not different in terms of my belief, what I'm doing at how in the house, so in the family. So it is not something that I shut myself, when you come home. It is like, because this is how you live life. But of course, it's not like you continually talk about just one, those issues all the time in the house, but you try and balance and see that, how the issues at the other side, I mean, the home side also, are kind of, being addressed. And there are many, many issues at the household level, where in my family, both sides family, where I have involved myself, rather than saying, oh, no, I'm not, this is not my work, it's not like that. So when you do that, then there's a balancing act, because you learn about it. Now that when you talk about gender and you talk about feminism, you learn about harmony. You always learn about peace and, conflict transformation and all this. So it is about, I mean, I think that that's very important, that there should not be, I mean, one should try and avoid conflict between work and house. So in a sense, one has to make an effort towards creating harmony.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. I think establishing harmony between partner, and I think you were lucky enough to have a partner who could understand you, because on our past like interactions, we have talked to many women who have faced a lot of problems, because a lot of sacrifices they had to make to choose this career path. So it's like there is this notion that to choose this platform, to go on this direction, we have to sacrifice family, home, or what is the other way around. So that's why one of the main idea of talking about this is this. Coming.
So just one thing, Anmati, I would just like to add here, that I have really given a lot of importance to the family, and respected the family, and I have enjoyed, being part of the family. So whether they're my friends or they're my relatives, or my own people on both sides, and we had an intercaste, interreligious marriage, So bringing both the families together and all that, that has also been a kind of a nice journey of transformation, because bringing two different types of families, I mean, like religiously different, but bringing them together. So I think, so I'm just saying that one has to enjoy that rather than, oh, sorry, you were...
Come from both the ways. It cannot be just a one person. So my next question to you is, the youth who, like people like me, who are entering the water sector, what change you would like to see on us? Like, what would you want from the youth? What would you suggest the youth to take up? How would you put it in easy words that youth should do this? How well we can work on the field of water? What would be your suggestion for the coming youth who are entering these sectors?
I feel for youth in general, or even, I mean, if somebody wants to spatially go in water or otherwise, building sensitivity about water and what water does to different people. I mean, different people, nature, everything. I think that internalizing that sensitivity is very important. So sensitization, I mean, is a very important aspect. So it is not just learning the technical thing, कि ये ऐसा harvest करना है और ये rainwater यूं करना है वो. But you know what it means. I mean, if you ask a woman, तो उसको रात को नींद नहीं आती है, because she's not sure कि कल मुझे पानी मिलेगा कि नहीं. Right? So one has to think about it and like compare your own I mean situation and say that, okay, you're privileged to have water as, whenever you want and all that. So then how you can influence others also. I remember that I mean, in 82 or 83, there were students, engineering, some students from Baroda, they had visited our area. And at that time, these were like young students, and then they went around Bhal. We had just taken them across Bhal region because they wanted to understand what is a water situation and what can be done, and etc. etc. And then after that, they went back and they wrote a letter because there were no phone calls or anything. So they wrote a letter, a very nice letter, that ma'am, after visiting Bhal area and going to these villages and all this, we have stopped taking bath under shower, because we would feel guilty the moment we would stand under the shower. So we would like take all day. So I'm saying that these small things can really make a lot of difference. And then some of them then went into really doing a lot of things about water, like even when they were in government and all that, that how you need to be more sensitive about what women are saying, what people are saying, what technologies need to be really, built there. I mean, what is required. So and I think that just more sensitivity. I mean, that's one, the more consciousness, and then because see, everybody is not going to become water expert, right? But even so, those who want to become water expert, then they need to look at from all these aspects what water means. So you need to understand that, the interaction of water with human beings and also with animals, so like, we say ke paryavaran or uske saath. So that the wo context pura genuinely samajhna, it's I think very, very important.
Right. Thank you so much, Nafisa ma'am. I think I can go on and on also in asking questions to you because I told Mansi ma'am also that when I was writing your bio for our booklet, I was reading a lot about you and I was very inspired also. So I was just telling her how can we have you on board also, but we couldn't find time. But also we are running little late on time, so I will just request Mansi ma'am to take it from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and with the very, very nice questions and very heartfelt, and I'm very touched.
Yeah.
And you are most welcome anytime.
Yeah, thanks, Anubhuti. And now you see, Nafisa, why these conversations are important. It's not that me and you talking, but it is also to bring more women and girls on board and see that there are possibilities to have a career in this sector and you can enjoy it. And the way your life has been, I mean, it's inspiration for many of us. Alka is also here because she's our next speaker. Now, my last question to you is on the role of having associations or being part of the platforms. As you may be aware that after so many years in the water sector, we now finally have a Water Resource Council in the country, which is recognized not only by the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, but also by the Government of India. And luckily, Alka, me, Anubhuti have all become part of the council right now. I need to understand from you, with your vast experience and being, being in so many associations, being in so many panels and advisories and all, how do you think these kind of associations can play a role, not only in expanding the scope of women and acknowledging and appreciating the role of women in the sector, but in the long run, women also can benefit to really step up their ladder of the profession or become much more comfortable or become more successful, or even to that matter, that pyramidal of leadership, we can nurture more leaders out of the platform. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, you are still not part of our advisory because I have sent you an email to become part of our advisory.
I'm so sorry.
Just to understand from you, because you have been part of so many associations and platforms, how do you see that young women and even women like me and Alka and all can really make use of the platform and also contribute to the platform?
So I think that your couple of questions, in terms of, as I understand, that, the usefulness of such platforms, in terms of promoting, women's leadership, etc. I feel that whenever, I mean, when we talk about voices of people, I mean, like we say that, you need to raise voice, or you need to bring the, I mean, you need to kind of, have a louder voice, and you need these associations, because then even if two people are speaking or five are speaking, but there are thousands behind that whole thing. So I think that it is very important. The other thing is that because there is that space, and because we are consciously kind of providing that space for women to express themselves, to for women to basically women, and I would say also young men, I mean, because they also need that space and all that, that they come up with their own thoughts and ideas. So it is not only that, okay, what I have been saying for ages and others have been saying for the ages, only those things have to be projected, but new ideas, new thoughts have to be projected. So when we are doing that, that itself is a process of projecting one's leadership and recognizing one's leadership, because then you are, today, luckily we have all these madhyams, the media, I mean, the kind of media that you have, कि आप अभी जैसे ये कर रहे हैं, सोशल मीडिया है, ये वो है, तो काफी विजिबिलिटी जो है वो both of people who are saying it, so in that sense then it become women who are saying it and what they are saying. So the important thing is who is saying it and what they are saying. So I think that is what the association can really do. Alka wanted to ask a question.
Yeah. Yes, I see that. So let me just bring in Alka on board. And thank you, Alka, for joining, and also for your patience, because we know you are our next speaker. So Alka, we know Nafisa for a long time now, so it will be good conversation to have three of us.
I really wanted to take this opportunity to tell and remind Nafisa that it was Nafisa because of whom actually, in a way, I'm in water sector. I don't know whether she remembers it or not.
Yeah.
Long time back, she sheltered me in Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
I was staying in her office.
Many of us in that.
I was staying in her office. I don't know whether she remembers it.
I don't remember, Alka. Oh wow, that would have been a very sweet session. Yeah.
So I was staying in her office and working for Narmada Bachao Andolan, because it kind of, I couldn't be with the Andolan otherwise. So thank you.
Thank you. I remember. I remember that so many arguments I used to have with Medha on this whole thing about, what the perception that we were working so much on the alternatives, roof water tank and line ponds and recharging and all that, and which was like considered as a rachnatmak kam rather than just protest and everything. And I said both are required. We require protest and those things. So, and also there's over a period of time, I think that things have changed.
I remember it distinctly because I must be there for 6 months in your office.
Correct. Yeah. How nice of you to.
Not working for you, just staying there.
That's so nice. That's also kind of mentorship and support, and I think encouragement. You get
Andolan survived because of supports like this.
Of course. And we are also trying to get Medha Bain also here. She has been our speaker in the past, but learning from her directly again will be very, very encouraging for our young council members. I'm already seeing how Anubhuti is blessed to be interacting with so many of you all these weeks, and other people also who join as our core team members. So let me just take the onus to really also give a vote of thanks to Nafisa and for the wonderful conversation. But Nafisa, with you, no time is enough to really stop. But we have to stop at some point in time.
Of course.
But we can take the conversation again on some specific areas, because you have also stories from each area. So we can have independent water narratives from each area also sometime. So I really felt the conversation flowing like water, and I'm sure Anubhuti and you also felt the same. And it's really one of the inspiring moments also for us as a council members to have you here. Like, I think you are one of the classic examples in the country where we can feel that the water that flows in you and me also flows in the rural and in the urban areas. It's one water. So somewhere one has to really step out and do something. Nafisa, may you remain an inspiration to others. People are still looking at you as inspiration. We are grateful to have you here and learn about your water endeavors in such a short time. I was already feeling naive to have your 40 years captured in 40 minutes. So please bear with that. And may you continue your water activities and keep us posted as you have been doing in the past. We shall also continue with other Monday Munching with Women for Water every Monday at 5 p.m. Today we had a very lucky situation to have two speakers, but otherwise it's one speaker, one session. And we look forward to learning more from other women in the water sector, because the very idea is to really have you all at one platform for the country, for the younger generation to know how you have really conducted your life, and also in the process engender the water sector very subtly, very, very silently. You may please follow our social media platforms to know about these wonderful women, and please take care of yourself. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having more of such conversations in the future. And Nafisa, as you see, the conversation was not difficult, it was just flowing.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Nafisa, please take care.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank
And
you.
all the best. Right.
Thank
yeah.
you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.